Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Boswell. Here. Senator Douglas.
Present.
Senator Thomas. Representative Chester Burton. Representative McCool.
Here.
Representative Pollock.
Here.
Senator Meredith.
Present.
Chairman Hart.
Here. The first item on the agenda is consideration of the minutes of the August 13th meeting of the committee. Is there a motion that could be motion by Representative Pollock, second by Senator Douglas? All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed.
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas. Representative Chester Burton. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Aye. Motion carries. Total number of items on the agenda today are 380 in the amount of $346,257,832.16. All vendors are now registered with the Secretary of State's office. First, we will take a look at the deferred list. The items on the deferred list are with the Department for Local Government and are items numbers 12 and 19 on the August Memorandum of Agreement pink list. If representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself. Are they virtual? This would be the Department for Local Government.
Go to the next one. Department of Education.
All right, we're going to move on. The next item on the deferred list is with the Department of Education and is numbers 24 on the August MOA Amendment yellow list. If there are representatives here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
You can. I just thought maybe they popped in or something to do this first.
Good morning. My name is Karen Worth. I'm the Division Director for the Division of Budgets and Financial Management at the Department of Education.
And good morning, Mickey Ray. I'm the Chief Academic Officer at the KDE.
All right, would you ladies please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much, and I believe Senator Douglas has some questions on this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I read this contract and provide funds to continue to mobilize and implement the work of the created coronavirus response and relief supplemental appropriation, blah, 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 blah. It goes on to say, to address the inconsistencies of student participation in remote learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. Why are we doing that?
So, Senator Douglas, when the state received the ESSER ARP funding, the federal funding for that work, each of the cooperatives across the state, there are 8 in total, they each received the same amount to develop the CRISA team. So that was just the title that they utilized for those teams because of the funding source. And they had accelerated learning specialists for both reading and for mathematics. They also had some supports for MTSS, the multi-tiered system of supports for students. This funding is actually expiring, so it must be expended by the end of this month. And this was just a modification that all of the co-ops received to finish out the funding period.
So you're asking us to approve funding that you already have?
Yes, sir. So that this was just a modification to a contract for the original contract amount.
Okay, well, what's important is that the people of the Commonwealth know that we are not approving new funds for this program. And I think often we get things that are lost. Again, I will say this over and over and over until the cows come home. We may have an understanding of how this works, but our public does not. And someone in the public looking at this is gonna think, well, gosh, why are they still funding this? Why are they still funding this? And I just wanted to make sure that when I explained to my constituents that we did not approve another contract in this particular space, that we didn't. We're simply working with funding that has already been allotted.
Yes, sir.
Would that be fair to say?
That's correct, yes, sir. And I'm working with my team to try to take your all's questions back to them when it comes to the contract language that you all receive, that we need to give you all more clear and concise information as to what's actually happening in the contract language. So we're working to really fine tune that.
Okay, but understand that we it's partly it is us, but again, I will say over and over and over, it's not my money. It's not my money. This money belongs to the people of the Commonwealth, and so they need to be able to understand even more than me. I can understand. I've got an MD. Pretty much anything you throw out there, I'm going to understand, or I'm going to seek to understand. A lot of people in our public don't have that time, and so I want to make it as clear. And ladies, you all do. I really appreciate what you do, but I just want to emphasize that most people who listen to this committee meeting would say, well, why are they continuing to fund this? I just want to make it clear that it's funding that's already out there.
Yes, sir.
So I really do appreciate you all taking the time to come in and explain that this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Senator Meredith.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here this morning. Certainly echo Senator Douglas' sentiment. This is difficult for all of us, particularly when we just get thumbnail descriptions of what's occurring. I get that we're adding another year onto this, but it also says increase by $120,000. What precipitated that? I mean, is it anticipation that we're going to use the funding we already have, or?
So that was a part of the original funding base, and so there was more funds within that CRISA team pot that was then added in the modification. But Senator Mayor, just to clarify, so this co-op and all of the other co-ops must have these funds expended by the end of this month. So that $120 is really just a reallocation.
Okay, okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion to consider the contract review without objection?
So moved.
A motion by Senator Meredith. Is there a second? Second by Senator Douglas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Senator Douglas.
I'm going to explain my vote.
Go right ahead.
I just want to make sure that people are aware that sometimes we have very little, if any, control over the funds and whether they're expended or not. I mean, there are a number of times that we on this particular committee are subjected to questions as to, quote, why did we do this, when we really don't have much control over that. And this is one of those cases. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Senator Thomas.
Roll call.
No. We're on a deferred.
Right here.
Number
Number 3.
Department of
Department of
Education.
Education number 24. It was deferred from last month.
It's gonna be yes.
Okay, yes.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you all so much. We're going to go back to the Department of Local Government. They are with us virtually. Unfortunately, they were muted and we didn't hear them last time. Are you all? Can you all hear me?
Yes, good morning. Sorry
Good.
about that. We didn't hear our names being called.
That is perfectly all right. If you would, please raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
We do.
I do.
All right. Thank you so much. And I believe Co-Chair Meredith has some questions. Did just 19?
12.
Yeah.
Deferred.
No, this year on the deferred list. Let me help.
Mm-mm.
Sorry for the interruption. Sorry for the confusion. We're talking about contract number 12, which is city of Taylorsville, $750,000 for an urgent care clinic. It says provide funds to renovate existing pharmacy space located at 847 Louisville Road in Taylorsville to establish an urgent care center and healthcare center to be operated by the University of Louisville Health. Is the University of Louisville the owner of this clinic?
Travis, do you want to go ahead and since you're the project manager on that, I'll let you speak to that project.
Yes, the University of Louisville Health will be operating and running that clinic. Yes.
Are they the owner of the clinic?
They will own that. They will own that site. Yes.
And
where the clinic will be.
I
Yep.
guess my question then is why isn't this the responsibility of University of Louisville? Rather than have to get 100% federal funding for this, I would think University of Louisville would have the resources under their University of Louisville Health umbrella to pay for this.
Can he hear? Can he hear?
That's my question. That's not a comment.
Can he hear?
Can you hear us?
Can he hear you?
Yes. We can. I mean, so can you repeat the question? Maybe it got cut off. Can you repeat?
Certainly, if the University of Louisville Health is the owner and operator of this clinic, I'm asking why do we have to secure federal funding for this particular clinic? Why can't that cost be absorbed by the University of Louisville Health? I mean, it'd be nice to have the federal government pay for everything in healthcare, but we can't afford that. So this
Right.
doesn't seem to.
It was a collaboration between the county, which it's the county's project. The grant is not to the University of Louisville Health. The grant is to the county, who partnered with Louisville Health to provide the urgent care clinic and healthcare resources.
What kind of federal grant is this?
Community Development Block Grant.
So really not specific to healthcare. I mean, I know that the grant application was specific to healthcare, but this particular grant is not specific to healthcare.
The Community Development Block Grant can be used in other ways other than for affordable health care, yes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When this clinic is run, will there be positive cash flow?
Because it's CDBG block grant, any type of excess cash flow is looked at and reviewed for what is required to be program income or miscellaneous revenue under the CDBG program. So that's looked at each year.
Explain what that means to the public.
That means any proceeds that are in excess of what it takes for working that clinic is reviewed to see what could potentially be eligible. That has to be reported as program income and miscellaneous receipts.
Well, may I, Mr. Chair, one more question?
All right, ahead.
Reviewing the money is one thing. I'm not asking about reviewing the money. I'm asking if there is excess money, where does it go? It doesn't go to the review. It goes somewhere.
It has to be, that money would have to go towards providing the same type of resources and services that this clinic provides to the income eligible clients to meet the national objective.
So it goes back into the clinic. Is that what you're telling me?
Or service or like services. So
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
And I did this was actually a project of the city. I do apologize. I misspoke and said county earlier, but it is actually a project of the city of Taylorsville, not the county.
Follow-up question, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Then if this is a project of the city of Taylorsville, which I have no doubt about that, did they approach University of Louisville Health about establishing this clinic, or did the University of Louisville Health approach them about establishing this clinic?
That I'm not 100% sure on who approached who first, or if they were already working together on how to address their needs.
Okay. If there's no other questions, do I have a motion to consider the contracts review without objection?
I'm going to move for approval.
Motion made by Senator Thomas,
Second.
second by Representative Chester Burton. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Douglas.
Aye, but I want to explain my vote, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Go right ahead.
You know, Mr. Chair, people may question whether or not it makes a difference whether or not our universities approach our communities or our communities approach our universities. But and we're using federal funds, but they're still federal tax dollars that don't grow on trees, and people don't go to the lake and fish for them. And if we're going to be good stewards with the money, we need to make sure that we know who is initiating that money trail and where that money is actually going. And I have some concerns in this area, but I'll go ahead and vote yay, but I still have concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Here.
Senator Thomas.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to explain my I vote if I could.
Go right ahead.
I want everybody to understand what's going on here. The city of Taylorsville wants to develop a health clinic in downtown Taylorsville. Now, everybody knows that Spencer County is the largest growing county in Kentucky in terms of exponential population increase. It's the fastest growing county in Kentucky. Okay, and obviously, with many people coming in there, they want to have health services in downtown Taylorsville. Now, they've gotten federal money to run this project. This is not our tax dollars. This is federal tax dollars. Okay, and they want to use it to provide health care for their citizens. I think that's a noble purpose. Okay, I don't see anything wrong with that. To take an empty pharmacy, provide a health clinic in downtown Taylorsville for the fastest growing county in Kentucky, to provide health care for their citizens. I see nothing wrong with that. And so therefore, based upon what's going on here and the purpose for which these tax dollars are being used, I'm going to vote aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
I'm a no and like to explain my vote, please.
Go right ahead.
I don't care whether it's federal dollars or not, it's tax dollars. And we are running a massive, massive federal deficit that is crushing our economy, crushing middle classes, and just because it's federal dollars, I don't think it's good justification to spend this money. You know, I appreciate the city of Taylorsville may need this, but I'd like to see one of these in Litchfield, Kentucky. I'd like to see one in Brandenburg, Kentucky. I'd like to see one in Hardinsburg, Kentucky. I'd like to see one in Beaver Dam, Kentucky, Hartford, Kentucky, and Morgantown, Kentucky. But the funds aren't there. We gave University of Louisville, I believe it was $35 million to purchase the Jewish hospital. We gave them, was it $30 million this last budget session to establish a new cancer center in Bullitt County. I find it hard to believe that the profits that those are going to generate would not be sufficient to fund a $750,000 clinic. You know, how much do we have to give to University of Louisville Health for them to meet the needs of our area? And I think this is just excessive, and it's very bothersome that we say just because it's federal dollars, it's okay. We can't continue down this path.
Chairman Hart.
No.
I'd like to make a motion to change my vote.
Hold on.
What would you like to change your vote to?
No.
Could you give me the count now? Okay. Motion carries. So thank you all very much for being here. Let's see. Next order of business is consideration of the agenda, including the deferred list, personal service contract list.
Excuse me, we've got 19.
19 still do.
Oh,
One more.
I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Go right ahead, Senator Meredith.
All right, this is 19. It's Kentucky College of Art Design for $5 million. And the description here is provide funds for operational costs, payroll, supplies, equipment, rent, utilities, and so forth. Who actually owns this college? Is it our Commonwealth?
I've got Aaron Jones on, and he can speak to this project as well. This is one of the line items that was listed in House Bill 1 that was passed in this current session that we just completed.
Well, that doesn't answer my question, though. Who owns this Kentucky College of Art Design?
To be quite honest, we don't know.
Well, I appreciate you being honest.
Yeah.
Travis is here. He'd like to come.
This is House Bill 1 appropriation directed by your legislative body, and our job is just to administer the funds.
Well, it's the reason for questions. Sometimes we don't get it right.
If you could, please identify yourself for the record.
I'm Travis Powell, Senior Vice President for the Council on Post-Secondary Education. Obviously, this is not our contract, but I do know the answer to your question, Senator Meredith. This is a licensed college. It's a private nonprofit university that we license at CPE. So,
I'm not sure I understand that relationship. It's a license?
So we license. So CPE, oversees has certain responsibilities around public colleges and universities, but we also license private colleges to operate in the state. So your Transylvania universities, your center colleges, Kentucky College of Art and Design, Georgetown College, we all give them a license to operate in the state. We have administrative regulations that outline the parameters under which they have to meet in order to be able to offer college degrees in Kentucky.
Well, those other colleges, private colleges you mentioned, do we assume the operational costs from those as well?
I don't know. It may have been appropriated funds in the past. They do receive scholarship dollars through KIA, like for KEYS. Students can take their KEYS dollars there. CAP, KTG, those sort of things. There may have been other appropriations. They haven't flowed through our office, but there may have been. I'm not aware of them though.
Do you have any idea what the total operational costs are?
For Kentucky College of Art and Design?
Yes.
No, I don't know. I mean, we probably have their they do provide their audited financial statements. We get those in our files. I don't have access to it right now, but we do have that.
Do you know if they receive any of their subsidy from our Commonwealth other than this?
I don't know if they're eligible yet to receive the state financial aid dollars yet. I'm not sure that they do. I don't know that I haven't seen anybody in the audience from KEYA. I don't believe they're here. They could probably answer that question. We don't administer those funds, so I'm not sure. I do know that they are in the process. They're in the final stages of being accredited by SAC COC. So I do know that they are in the final stages of that process. So,
what kind of degrees do they offer?
Bachelor's degrees in arts. They only have a very small number of students.
Do you know how many?
I'd say, I don't know for sure, but I think it's less than 50.
Less than 50?
Mm-hmm.
And we're spending $5 million for 50 students. And what kind of jobs do this particular degrees qualify them for?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're bachelor's degrees in arts, so there are jobs out there in those areas. We don't track the employment piece of it at CP. We make sure that they have the capacity to offer the degrees. We make sure that their professors are qualified, that sort of thing. But
Travis, I appreciate you being here. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I truly don't. But there's
no, I'm just happy to be able to happen to be here. Thought I could answer
appreciate
some
you
of your
doing
questions.
it. Yeah. Mr. Chair, I know that there's other people who will speak on this, but I really would like to make a motion to defer action on this to get more information before we take action on it.
Second.
All right, I have a motion. Oh, well, before we continue consider the motion, Senator Thomas has a comment or a question.
Travis, I have one question. All colleges and universities have to be accredited under SACS. Is the Kentucky College of Art Design accredited?
They're in the process of being accredited. They're in the very final stages of being accredited by SAC, COC. But they're not.
But by answering it that way, you're telling me that today they're not accredited.
I think I forget exactly what they call the status, but it's a candidate for accreditation. I mean, it's a 3 or 4 year process that they have to go through. They're still a relatively new school. So it's a 3 or 4 year process that they have to go through, but they've met all their marks through the process, and they're in the very final stages. I think they expect to get full accreditation in December. So,
Okay, Senator Boswell.
Thank you. Yes, so, I'm not sure I understand this. So, is this something we provided for money for in the past? Do you know?
I don't know.
And so, with us doing this, spending this $5 million, does that also obligate us to provide funding for this particular college as we go into the future? Are we obligating ourselves now by voting for this for this amount of money in the years coming?
I mean, I wouldn't think. You all work on a biennial budget process, and so each 2 years is independent of itself. And I think in the next session, you could choose to do what you wanted with this. Again, this is not in our line item, so I do recall it being passed in the budget. So,
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Representative Pollock.
Travis, thank you for stepping up here and handle this. I obviously was going to make a motion to defer this to get someone that could explain what this College of Art Design is about. Obviously, there's someone appointed in that who's in charge of this school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes. We speak. Of course, obviously, we license the college. We've spoken to their president many times. I'm sure she'd be happy to come and speak to the committee.
Good deal. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Senator Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Travis, I try to be fair. Again, I want to be a good steward of our taxpayer dollars. That's fundamental to my role here in the legislature. I am troubled by the fact that they're not accredited right now, and I don't want to give $5 million of state money to an unaccredited institution. So I want to ask my question this way: if we deferred this money, would that impact negatively their ability to be accredited whenever that final decision is made? In other words, can they be accredited on their own right now without receiving this $5 million?
I wouldn't be able to answer that question. I don't know exactly where they are. I mean, again, I know generally where they are in the accreditation process. I don't know if there are additional hurdles they have to meet in order to be accredited. It is, like I said, it is once you start off, you have to start somewhere. It's a new college. They immediately began the process of being accredited. They've hit all their marks at this point. So, but I don't know whether or not I would doubt that this is contingent. But again, for considering what it's for operation cost, I definitely think it's something that the college will be able to use. But as far as anything being contingent on that, I wouldn't think so. But I don't know that answer.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. I have a motion to defer by Senator Meredith and a second by Senator Douglas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
I'm going to vote aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion is deferred. Thank you so much for your help.
Glad to help.
And thank you all for being here virtually. Next order of business is consideration of the agenda, including the deferred list, personal service contract list, personal service contract amendment list, memorandum of agreement list, memorandum of agreement amendment list, and the Kentucky Entertainment and Incentive Program agreement list and the corrections list, except for those items selected for further review. Do we have a motion to consider the contracts review without objection?
So moved.
Motion by motion by Senator Meredith, second by Representative Pollock. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas. Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. We're going to go a little bit out of order. The next item on the pool list will be with Murray State University, and is number 40 on the PSC Amendment Ivory list. If representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record. I
believe they're remote.
Yeah, they're virtual. Our representatives from Murray, can you hear me? All right, while they're trying to okay, while they're trying to figure that out, the next items on the pool list are with the Attorney General. They're number 1 on the PSC green list, and items numbers 11 through 17 on the MOA pink list. If representatives are here, please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning, Co-Chair Hart and Meredith, members of the committee. Will Schroeder, Senior Counsel for the Attorney General.
All right, let's do item number 4.
Also with
Oh,
you, sir, is
I'm
Chris
sorry.
Evans, Executive Director of the Opioid Abatement Commission. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you so much for being here. Could both of y'all please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you so much. And we're going to start with item number 4 on the PSC green list. It looks like the contract for the catering service for a 2-day symposium. To me, it sounds a little excessive. I just want you to maybe explain it and kind of give us some bearing on why it's so expensive.
Certainly, Co-Chair Hart. I will turn it over to Executive Director Chris Evans. But before I do, if I could back up just a brief moment, not so much for members of the committee. I know you're well aware, but for your viewers on KAT, just to remind them, the Kentucky Opioid Abatement Commission was set up back in 2021 in the General Assembly, set that up in House Bill 427, and it's composed of 9 voting members. And the purpose of the commission is dealing with distributing the settlement funds for Kentucky. So just want to remind viewers, this isn't taxpayer dollars coming from the budget. This, not just on this contract, any of the contracts involving the opioid abatement this morning will be money coming out of those funds from the settlement dollars of the various organizations, companies that played a role in our opioid epidemic. If that makes sense. But for this one specifically, I'll turn it over to Director Evans.
Before we proceed, appreciate that explanation. I kind of assume that, but the description we have says agency 100%, but you're saying that's really opioid abatement settlement fund. It's not agency funds per se. Is that?
That is correct, sir.
Okay,
And
thank you.
in addition to that, just for clarification, what will be taking place is a symposium to educate those throughout the Commonwealth on treatment, recovery, addiction services, and those things to help communities better serve themselves and be able to do that. It is a 2-day conference. The KIC, Kentucky International Convention Center, requires use of their sole vendor for providing meals for that service. That service is being utilized through them for the 2 meals that are taking place. Also of note is that we have gotten sponsorships for this convention, for the symposium. Those sponsorships will cover the cost of this, so there will be no required outlay from taxpayer dollars to actually cover the cost of this. That cost will be able to assumed by the sponsorships. So we had to contract for the services, but you should note that we are not using taxpayer dollars for the cost of this.
All right. If anybody have any questions on item number 4,
Just a brief, Mr. Chair, if we could.
right ahead.
What kind of expense do you anticipate the symposium? What will be the attendance? Do you have any idea?
Right now, we're anticipating approximately 400 participants at the convention. So again, we're talking meals for 400 people over several days.
And Senator, just to provide some more context, one of the questions that's come up with our partners at the city and county level is how they can spend what is allowed as the cities and counties receive these dollars. So that's just one of the many things that will be addressed. We expect people from all across the Commonwealth of Kentucky, stakeholders at the city and county level, to be participating.
Well, I think the attendance kind of helps put the figure into perspective. It's not like $5 million for 50 people. So appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead and do this. All right. If there's no other questions, do I have a motion to consider the contract reviewed without objection?
So moved.
A motion by Senator Meredith, second by Representative Pollock. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. The next item is on the pink sheet. Let's see, where's my? The next item is it's 11 through 17 on the MOA pink list, and I had a question on that. These contracts attempt to address many of the social challenges we face today: substance use disorder, recovery, alcohol, drug detoxification, job skill training, just to name a few. I pulled the first 7. There's multiple contracts in here pertaining to some of this. I just want to, understand what's actually happening here, because when you, just on the surface, when you look at this, it almost looks like we might be duplicating services. Maybe we're not. I just wanted to give you all the opportunity to explain what's actually happening to assure us that we're not duplicating services that another, like the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, would be doing.
Well, thank you, sir. Again, part of the commission's role is to make sure that the body reviews all these things, and in that body are representatives of the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, as well as the Office of Drug Control Policy. And that conversation takes place to ensure there are not duplications of efforts or monies being spent by the commission. There are things which will be adjacent to their activities, so you may see things which are in alignment or connected to, or there's gaps in services. But again, all of the work that's done, we make an effort to make sure that's all vetted, so there is no overlap of services.
Okay, and that answers my question. Go right ahead, Senator Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question. Either one of you gentlemen can answer this particular question. On number 12, the buzzwords, essential job skills training needed in high demand career fields. What's that mean?
So that means in fields which they have identified that those individuals who are coming through, they're providing skills, whether it be in industrial work, whether it be in manufacturing, providing them job and workforce training, so that when they complete their recovery process, or they go through the recovery process, they are able to move into gainful employment, as opposed to going back to their variety or their place of initial instances where they became through this recovery. So it's really a workforce training program to help people in their recovery process.
May I ask one more question?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Director. My concern, especially in the opiate use disorder area, is that we have a lot of training that goes on, and we have, unfortunately, a myriad of different recovery programs, few which actually help. They spend a lot of money, but they really, in the long term, don't help. My question here is, do we, and you may not know the answer to this, because obviously this is with the Regional Healthcare Information Organization, do we at any time keep track of the persons who go through these skilled training, in areas of high demand career field, the people who go through these programs, who actually spend more than 2 years in gainful employment in those areas? Do we have any statistics on that? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm trying to clarify for me, if that's okay.
So I don't have any statistics on that, sir. I think individually you'd have to look at each program to identify whether they're tracking that and whether or not they can provide those statistics on those things. We do know from conversations that we're having with individuals and organizations that is part of the metrics that we continue to look for as a commission in terms of how do we identify and understand and evaluate the efficacy of what's going on in the model. So I understand your question, but again, that would require for each individual organization.
Yeah, I guess I'm at the point where I'm getting tired of hearing where those are some of the metrics that we're looking for, but we don't get anything done. I mean, the words really sound good. I know some really, really big words that have very few vowels, but they don't, and they can impress people, but they don't get anything done. And I know you are working hard because I've been following you behind your back, but I know you are working hard to get things done and move them in a positive direction. And we want to support you here in the General Assembly, but accountability is huge, and we have seemed to have lost the meaning of accountability in a lot of the programs that we fund. And I'm just looking to see if we can put that word accountability back into one of the metrics that we follow in terms of funding these programs. But I want to thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Representative Pollock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a comment to, I think, and in hearing Senator Douglas's comments as well, but I serve on the Workforce Task Force, and this is a huge topic in my mind and that we're going to discuss actually this coming week. To echo what I think Senator Douglas is trying to say, we provide the recovery centers and things. Obviously, there is a drug issue here in the state of Kentucky. We have probably the most beds for recovery addiction in the country. If I had to put it, I don't know the statistics, but my point is we're providing these services, we're providing the funds to get help. And then my opinion is we are not following up. It's in the follow-up after these people get out of recovery addiction, corrections, whatever it is. What can we do is the question that I wanted to ask, is that what can we do to help these people on their follow-up instead of just saying, good luck to you after you do your time, after you do your recovery addiction, good luck to you. And then these folks are now just sitting there not having the resources to put them back into work. This is a huge area, numbers that we can tap into for workforce. And again, I just want to kind of share that here in this committee, but that is something that we're really looking at, targeting, and seeing because, as I've always been told, the fortune is in the follow-up. We're providing them the services to get them the help they need. And then once that time is over, obviously, we're just, they don't know what else to do. And typically, they go back to their buddies, to their neighborhoods that got them there in the first place. And so that's some things that we're discussing. I think we need to really dig in deep and figure out how we can help these people after they continue, get that initial help. What can we do to help these folks get their legs back under them, their lives back? Obviously, they're going to have to meet us halfway, but sometimes they don't know. They need a temporary housing after they get out, just to figure things out. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to share those comments.
All right, thank you, Senator Boswell.
Thank you, Representative Pollock. I echo exactly what you said, but I would want to make one comment. So what I see is that I know there's some organizations out there that deal with people that are having these problems long term, and I just think what you said is actually a very key thing. We need to be putting this money in programs where there's long term accountability. And some of these programs, they go on for 30 days or 45 days and they put them back on the street and they're going to be back. I know of other programs that are long term that haven't received funding yet. So I think that's part of the answer is to put them in programs that are long term as far as accountability and make sure that we get them off and keep them off. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Just a couple responses. The commission is made up of 9 voting members and 2 non-voting members. Those 2, one's selected by the House, one's selected by the Senate. And I certainly think that when they're going through the different applications, many of your questions today are questions that they're asking, so to speak, when they're reviewing the applications or when the pitch is made. To Representative Pollock, I certainly agree. We met recently in the office with an organization, and they were showing me statistics that their program, which continued weekly and was a community based program where you had, people that they may have gone to high school with, mentoring those others. They were showing me that in many instances they had better results than inpatient treatment, which in my mind at the time I kind of had held inpatient treatment as the gold standard. And they explained to me exactly what you said. Once you're out of that inpatient, everything's great while you're there, while you're in inpatient, but once you're sent back to your home, your community, and you don't really know who to turn to for help, you end up going back to what you know and the friends that, got you and many times in trouble in the first place. So there are, I just want you to know there are in Kentucky programs that are that more community-based long-term method that, you're never really fully recovered, right? It's always a continual process. And as I know the commission makes decisions about funding, they're considering these things as well.
All right. If there's Representative McCool.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, just make a comment. Appreciate you being here today. And I understand some of the points that have been made. Anytime someone goes to the drug rehab or whatever it is, that's just one phase. The next phase is how do you keep them from going back, returning to their old habits. And in doing this, they talk about high-skilled positions or training. That's another phase, as I understand that correctly. So it may be machine tool or manufacturing or whatever, or something in the health field that lets them know that they can be successful in something and puts them out into the workforce, gives them that skill set so they don't go back into the same circle that they were in before. So there are a lot of data out there. I don't have that available with me right now, but where that is helping those individuals to not return back to the lifestyle they had before. So if I'm reading this correctly, this provides some of that high skilled level of training so that they don't return. It's not just the recovery by itself. It's the additional piece. And you're correct, absolutely. There needs to be a follow-up on everything we do to make sure that it's working. So just want to make a comment, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just if I may respond to that,
Go right
I
ahead.
want to make sure, sir, that
Yes.
it's clear. And thank you for that. We are making sure to follow up in terms of that. As I spoke to the committee before, we have established an accountability piece, and we have started going to site visits to those who received funding across the state. And so part of the questions that is asked is, how is the funding being spent? But we all are also asking those questions of what does it look like? Do you have data to support your work and what that's going through? So that is part of the process that the commission is going through to address what you're asking about. So we will continue to do that, and we'll continue to advise you as we move forward with that.
All right. If there's no further questions or comments, do I have a motion to consider the contract without objection? This will be contracts number 11 through 17. I have a motion by Senator Boswell for approval, a second by Representative Chester Burton. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas. Aye. Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for being here. I think we have our technical difficulties fixed with Murray. State, are you guys online and can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I am online.
All right, great. If you could, please identify yourself for the record.
My name is Beth Ward. I'm the Director of Procurement Services for the university.
Yeah. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. And I think Senator Boswell has some questions here.
Good morning, Mrs. Ward.
Good morning.
So I've got some friends in the landscaping business for years, and I've been involved in some pretty good sized projects with landscaping. And this number kind of jumped at me here that you got a $600,000 expense here for a landscape architect. Could you tell me what is the total cost of this project? Number one, that's the first question I have.
So this contract is actually the multiple contract that was approved back in July that we do for each of our A&E disciplines. The purpose of the amendment was just to add Baker Barrios as an additional firm to that contract. There is not a project that for which we are expending these dollars at this point in time. These are just available funds to the university on an as-needed basis going forward.
Okay, was there a particular project that is involved with these funds, though? No particular project, just $600,000 for landscaping.
Well, the A&E multiple contracts are contracts that allow the university to spend up to that amount on an as-needed basis. We do not have a singular project or any project as of today that will expend any dollars against this contract.
Okay, I guess what I'm trying to get at is this. I can understand that this is a landscaping cost, but this says it's a landscape architectural. So this doesn't actually give you any, this particular entry here on this, it doesn't actually pay for any landscaping, only for some architect to draw up some kind of drawing.
Well, if we had a project that came about that required us to have some sort of landscape architect involvement, then we would have up to that $600,000 to expend on that.
Okay, I don't want to belabor the point. Let me just ask one question. How much this is, it looks like it's an annual appropriation that you've got here because it gives a time period. How much did you spend the last fiscal year before this year?
Actually, last fiscal year, we did not spend any dollars on landscape architecture.
Okay, so just all of a sudden you decide you need to spend $600,000. I mean, it's a little confusing to me. If you haven't spent any for this, all of a sudden, do you have a new project that you think this is going to be used for?
We have several projects that I think we could have a need for later on. We have our new nursing building that is out to bid right now. We have veterinary science center that will be constructed, and several projects
thank you. Not
that
to
could
interrupt
require
you.
that.
I apologize for interrupting. I realize this is an amendment, but it came back before us here, and it so it brought questions to my mind. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion to consider the contract without contract review without objection?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Senator Thomas. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Meredith. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Douglas.
I vote aye, but may I explain my vote, Mr.
Yes, go right ahead.
You know, I think it's really, really, really important for us, or at least those who are requesting these amendments and funds, to talk about a little bit more what they are spending and not spending. Most of the people who watch us or who are trying to learn about our budget assume that if we put it in the budget, it's gone. It's down the drain, and we'll never see it again. They're really not aware of the contingencies that we place in the budget that are really never utilized. And I just want to say that Chairman Hart.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Senator Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton. Yes. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for being with us. Next item on the pool list is with the Council on Post-Secondary Education, and is number 6 on the PSC green list. If representatives are here, please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning. Lee Nemec, I'm Senior Vice President at CPE.
Okay.
Travis Powell, Senior Vice President, General Counsel at CPE.
All right. If you all would raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Thank you so much. And I believe Co-Chair Meredith has some questions.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. How many consulting firms responded to the RFP for this particular feasibility study?
3.
Was Deloitte the least expensive, most expensive? Where do they fall?
In the middle.
And why were they selected?
Their technical score was the highest. And so, it's a combination of technical and cost, both. And so they scored out they were the highest evaluated bidder using cost and the technical portion.
Have they done any comparable projects?
Yes, they have. Lee, you want to speak? Just background.
Yes, they've done several projects in Kentucky, including one at the University of Kentucky. I believe they've worked at WKU and University of Louisville. And they have done hundreds of higher education studies around the country, and I'd be happy to get you that information.
Not necessarily. The reason I question this one is we've had some instances of less than stellar success from this particular consulting firm for projects in the state, and I just wonder why we continue to give them a free pass to do this work and without any consideration of those. So to that end, I'm just not really keen on this consulting firm. I think they do too much business with the state, and I'm not sure we're getting our money's worth, but that's just a personal bias, Mr. Chair. I have no other questions.
Yes, go right ahead. Oh, Senator Douglas, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In reading further through, we hear a lot of things that were essentially mandated by the General Assembly, and I go on to read, evaluate the potential for new and expanded post-baccalaureate programs that align with the evolving workforce needs of the Commonwealth. Will they also be looking at those programs that need to be taken away, which is also one of the mandates? Because often we hear consultants come in, we need to look at how we can, quote, expand. But then they don't read the rest of our resolution, which says there are a lot of things that we don't need. So will this firm also be bringing us information regarding those post-baccalaureate programs that absolutely do not align with the evolving workforce and have a history of not having done such?
They will look at the 4 programs that were outlined in SJR 170 specifically, and they definitely will look at whether or not those programs are needed by the state. So if one of those programs is not needed or more than one, they will let us know. They will also, we have asked at CPE for them to provide some guidelines for us and for the state in the future to look at the appropriateness of approving new high-level programs of this nature.
Well, but if I may, and this is what I talk about, the appropriateness of approving new programs that are a high-level nature. I'm looking for the appropriateness of disapproving programs that have been around for decades that are inappropriate. And I would love to hear more talk about taking a retrospective look at the programs that are being paid for, but we're not getting anything for that money. Why don't we have those? And I'm just going to throw this. Why do we not have those conversations? Why do we not have those open conversations?
We do, actually. This contract is not focused directly on that, but we do have a process, a program review process. We hired a consultant that helped us construct that process a few years ago. One of CPE's responsibilities and statutory responsibilities is program review, and we actually do have the authority to eliminate programs. Now, our board has never actually had to take action to remove programs, but as part of the review process, and we've identified programs that either are not in high need or high demand, or not have a heightened workforce need, institutions have chosen to close those programs on their own. So we have a comprehensive program review process. Would love to talk to you a little bit more about that and can show you some of the work that we've done in that area.
I would love to have that conversation.
Okay.
Because although the universities will choose to close certain programs, but you all have a responsibility as well, not just the implementation of new expanding programs, but to take a look at those programs which are not efficient, that are not being utilized in the economic development. And I think we've failed miserably in those areas over the years. Now, I'm not saying you have. I'm saying we as a body who have been put in this position have failed our public miserably. We've failed our students miserably in this particular space. And so we in the General Assembly look forward to working with you all in taking a retrospective look at programs that have been around for a long time that have not shown much progress.
We have a very robust program review process, and I would love to set up a meeting with you independently, and we can kind of walk you through that process and show you what you do. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. We can always do better, but we have looked at this a lot, and I feel like we do pretty well in this area. And so, but I'd be happy to go through that with you, and we'll set up a meeting sometime and do that. in
Love
your
to.
office.
We
Okay?
can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Travis, confirm what I'm about ready to say. This contract here is an outgrowth of two actions that took place in the 2024 session. First of all, you had President Stivers come out with Senate Bill 1, in which he said it's time for us to look at ways for universities, our public universities, to work together, to engage in certain joint efforts, not as competitors, but as collaborators, to do some good things for our state. Okay? And we approve that bill. Senator Meredith, Senator Douglas, Senator Boswell, and myself were part of the Senate chamber that approved that bill. Then in addition to that, we had several universities from across the state that came to us and said, we want to do special programs, in veterinary science, in medical sciences. And so both chambers got together and said that we want to look at this, during this session. Matter of fact, there's another task force. There's a task force taking place this summer to actually study that. Okay, and so this contract then is an outgrowth of both of those actions to provide us some independent professional analysis. Say, as we look at how we're going to change the face of our education here in Kentucky and make it better, we're going to get outside. We're going to get an outside review as well. Am I correct in saying that, Travis?
This doesn't directly have anything to do with Senate Bill 1. However, I think as part of the review process, if any programs are identified that institutions could collaborate on in the future in response to Senate Bill 1, were it to be funded in the future? I think there could be an outgrowth of that from this study, but it is not directly related to this study. We were funding for this project in the Senate Joint Resolution that just asked us to look at those post-baccalaureate studies. However, I do think there could be some connection in the future. We'll see what they come back with.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Senator Boswell.
The only comment I'm going to say is that I did go back and look at that Senate Joint Resolution 170, and I don't remember any specific costs being attached to that. So I think as a body, I think it's a reminder to us that if we pass these resolutions, we need to be looking and trying to establish some cost amount so that when it comes back to us, that we'll know that we're within those guidelines. And that's really all I want to say. We essentially appropriate this money through that joint resolution. Thank you.
Co-Chair Meredith.
Just briefly, just some clarification. My concern is not with the intent of the expenditure. I understand we have mandated this feasibility study, and I think it is needed. My concern is with the firm that this is being awarded to.
All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion to consider the contract reviewed without objection?
I'll make a motion again.
Motion by Senator Thomas. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Chester Burton. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
I'm going to vote no because I'm going to depend upon Senator Co-Chairman Meredith's thoughts on this.
Senator Douglas?
I'm going to pass because I'm not really convinced of where we're going with this.
Senator Thomas?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to explain my I vote briefly.
Go right ahead.
Just 5 months ago, we voted as a body, both the House and the Senate, that we were going to do an in-depth study of our higher education and look at ways in which we can collaborate, expand programs, do some things differently to really enhance education and educational opportunities for the people of Kentucky. Now, that was just 5 months ago. Okay. And we have a task force that we adopted to do that. You know, in a short period of time, Senator Meredith and I are going to go to a task force on artificial intelligence. There are about 6 task forces we created this session. Higher education review was one of them. Okay, so what we've seen the Council on Post-Secondary Education do now, say, look, in light of the language that we adopted now, this is the language of Senate Joint Resolution 170, to get an independent review, okay, we're going to go forward with that. They've come forward with a group now. And now we're going to say, after we've voted on this and approved it by strong majorities, that we're not going to fund this. That makes no sense to me. This should be funded. We really do need to take a look at our higher education system and make it better and more accessible for the people of Kentucky. And so therefore I vote aye.
Representative Chester Burton?
Explain my vote.
Yes, go ahead.
I concur with Senator Thomas. This is something that we took a look at and decided that we would do a joint resolution. And for that reason is why my vote is yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Pollock?
Yes.
Senator Meredith?
No.
Chairman Hart?
I want to explain my vote as well. I'm casting a no vote, but it's not for what the project is. My concern is with the consulting company as well. So, what's our count? The vote is 4-3. The contract moves forward. Thank you. Next item on the pool list is with the Department for Public Advocacy and is number 8 on the PSC green list. If representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
My name is Brian Scott West. I'm the Deputy Public Advocate for the department.
Good morning. My name is Melanie Lowe. I'm not on. Good morning. My name is Melanie Lowe. I'm General Counsel for the Department of Public Advocacy.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you all so much. And I think Co-Chair Meredith has a question.
I do. You know, it's a relatively small contract of $15,000, but the contract description says renew the contract, review and update Department of Public Advocacy Death Penalty Manual. I get that, but how often do we review this manual?
We actually have not reviewed or updated the manual in a number of years. Mr. Shear's contract is exercised in the second part of the reason for the contract, in the conduct of case reviews and the conduct of training of attorneys who are appointed to represent people in a death penalty case. It's for that reason that he's never got to the cap in any contract of $15,000 over a biennium. Last year, I think it was $7,000. Well, I don't have to guess how much. Last biennium, before this most recent contract, he earned $7,732 of the $15,000, and all of that was for case reviews. And that's not just picking up a case and looking at it. It's meeting with the attorneys and the mitigation specialists of the trial team periodically over a period of months to make sure they're able to pick a jury, which is different in a death case, to put on mitigation evidence, which you have to do in order to be not ineffective, in order to select the appropriate mental health professionals if some are needed in the defense of the case, who they are. and then do a follow-up on that and answer questions to help get the trial team ready for a case that might be headed to trial where death is a possible verdict.
I would assume this is a very narrow field of expertise, since we don't see that many.
It is narrow. I would put a few people up there. Former public advocate Ernie Lewis is a person who can do this. Former Capital Trial Branch Director Betty Nemi is someone who could do this. But we're not at the point where we're ready to update the manual. I think we're still in protracted litigation with the Department of Corrections, and depending on the outcome of that, and we're watching some things that are happening out of the state of Florida, and to see what the United States Supreme Court does. Those are things we'd like to see happen before we update what is essentially our strategy guide against the Commonwealth and the Attorney General for defending people in this state, and make sure we don't wake up to the nightmare that Illinois had, where innocent people were getting the death penalty due to the ineffectiveness of attorneys.
Duly noted. Mr. Chair, if no other comments, I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Senator Meredith and a second by Representative Pollock. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
No.
Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Next items on the pool list are with the Department of Education and are items number 13 on the PSC green list. I didn't think I pulled 115. Okay. And also number 115 on the MOA pink list. I have questions on number 13, and then we'll go to number 15 or 115 with Senator Douglas. I've read the description several times. It kind of sounds like a word salad to me. I mean, I didn't understand. So I'd like to just explain to the committee what is Kentucky United We Learn, and what are we trying to accomplish with the program.
Thank you for your question. I have Associate Commissioner Rhonda Sims on virtually.
Okay.
Rhonda, can you hear us?
I am. Can you
Great.
hear me in the room?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity, Senator Hart, to be with you today. Kentucky United We Learn began as an effort of grassroots support with about 55 members across the state of Kentucky, some educators, parents, stakeholders, to bring forth some ideas around assessment and accountability. And could we do a better job with assessment and accountability to have a system that's more meaningful and useful to all of our students? This is in its early phases of work. The work actually began with some efforts in Kentucky, and then Kentucky was able to secure a federal grant. So the U.S. Department of Ed has a grant process called the Competitive Grants for State Assessment. Kentucky secured a $3 million grant across 4 years, and we are now entering year 2 of that work. And what we are hoping to have come out of this process are some ideas for changes to the assessment and accountability system that would come forward potentially for your work at the state legislative level in this 2026 session. And we've done quite a few meetings with the Kentucky United We Learn Council. We've invited legislators to attend, and I think some of our folks maybe on this committee have actually been in those committees. I know I saw Senator Meredith recently at a superintendent summit where we talked a bit about Kentucky United We Learn. So it's really a stakeholder grassroots effort support. We have federal dollars to help support that through that competitive grant process. This particular contract will help with some of the deliverables of the grant, and so it's funded out of those federal dollars. So let me pause there and see if you have a specific question that maybe my general overview hasn't addressed.
I did not. You've done a very good job explaining to me what this is. Senator Douglas has a question. Go ahead.
I apologize. I'm a little slower than these guys. We speak often of accountability, and we talk about stakeholder responsibility, I mean, I wrote those words down, and assessment accountability. Who are we holding accountable?
Well, when we speak about assessment accountability, we're specifically talking about school accountability. So our Kentucky public schools and public school districts have federal accountability and particular labels that are applied each year based on student performance. So when we're talking about accountability here, it's very specific to school accountability. But you know, an accountability system, you want to support and drive and incentivize the best things occurring for Kentucky students. So I think part of this conversation, are there in fact things that can be done in an accountability system, assessment and accountability system, that broaden out the experiences for students so that there's vibrant learning experiences and that we can reflect that in the information that comes to you as legislators, as you can create state law. And so I think, you know, it has a little bit more narrow focus. I think accountability, I've heard it mentioned several times throughout the course of the meeting. And when we're talking specific about education accountability, it's about the school-based accountability that we have state law and federal law defining.
Mr. Chairman, may I just
go ahead.
One more quick. I guess I'm a little, again, I'm a little slower than most people here. We talk about stakeholder responsibility. In the learning process, our education process, or I guess I should say in our learning process, our greatest stakeholders are not our teachers, and they are not our administrators. They are the people who are receiving those services. That is, our parents and our students. When we talk about in the teaching accountability, yes, I agree, it is our instructors, our administrators, and everyone in that area. And my big concern is that we are holding our persons who are teaching responsible for the learning. And and that's where I say I'm slow, because I don't get that. I don't hear anything about students, parents when it comes to learning. We've got some absolutely wonderful teachers here in the Commonwealth. And I've always told you, I support our teachers. I'm just trying to see how we can align the funds that we're spending with the stakeholder responsibility that makes sense. And I don't hold my teachers or my administrators responsible for our students' learning. I hold them responsible for their ability to teach. When I went through school, it wasn't my teacher's responsibility that I learned. It was mine. It wasn't my teacher's responsibility or my principal's responsibility or the janitor's responsibility. And so I apologize, because I'm really confused in this space about how we are asking. I'm just confused about who we're holding responsible for what. I'm really sincere here. I'm just confused about who we're holding responsible. And then we ask, why are we not moving forward in the way we need to move forward? Because we don't know who we're holding responsible for what. So I just wanted to make that expression. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, a motion to consider the contract without objection.
Motion.
Motion by Senator Meredith. Do I have a second?
I'm on second Senator Meredith's motion.
All right. Second by Senator Thomas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Douglas.
Vote aye, but still explain my vote.
Go right ahead.
Chairman, I still have the reservations and the confusion. And I would like at some point for us to be able to sit down and look at who are we holding accountable? Who are we holding accountable? And what are we holding them accountable for? And are those the things that are we holding the appropriate people accountable for the appropriate items? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
I'd like to explain my vote.
Go right ahead.
As noted, I attended the Kentucky Association of School Superintendents fall meeting just last week, as did Senator Thomas, and had a great presentation by the folks who were there, particularly new Commissioner Fletcher. And, I think he's trying to establish a baseline for us as to how we go forward with our public education system. And that's why I'm supportive of this, is I think he really wants to have a firm foundation to build upon. And this is one of the steps in the process. Like most people here, I don't like consulting contracts, but we're committed to this, and I think this makes sense for us at the present time. Thank you.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all so much for being with us. All right, hold up. I'm getting ahead of myself again. The next item with the Department of Education is number 115 on the MOA pink list.
Mr. Chair, before they proceed, just a point of order here. We're not even through the first page of these contracts, and we've got 2 more pages. And Senator Thomas and I are both going to have to leave about 11 o'clock at the very latest, and I just hope we can get through these. I hate to keep deferring contracts to next month, so if we can get through these as quickly as possible, I think that's being fair to everybody involved, but just a point of information.
Yes, go right ahead, Senator Thomas.
I'm glad Senator Meredith made that point. I agree with him. I will ask this as well, Mr. Chair, and I did this the last time. I see University of Kentucky in the back. Before Senator Meredith and I have to leave at 11, I'd at least like to hear what UK has on the table so that we can consider their issue.
Okay. Duly noted. Let's proceed with item number 115 on the MOA pink list. Senator Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a short question regarding this contract 115 that provides funds to accelerate student prep for success to and a measurable success in AP, math, et cetera, et cetera. Are we keeping track of the students? Because we're talking about 3.8 million. Are we keeping track of the students who are receiving some of these funds, or at least whom this program is helping, and whether they are staying in the Commonwealth of Kentucky? And if so, do we do any tracking of the success or our return on investment in this particular area? And if so, could we get some of that information?
Yes, Senator, happy to get that. And you'll have to forgive me, my allergies are horrible today, but the executive director, Anthony Myers of Advance Kentucky, gives quarterly reports to the department based on the impact of their work across the state. So happy to go back to the KDE and share that with the members of the committee from the most recent report. They'll be sharing with the Board of Education in February as well, Senator.
Thank you very much. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a motion to consider the contract review without objection?
So moved.
Motion by Senator Meredith, second by Representative Pollock. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank
ladies.
you all.
Out of respect for Senator Thomas and his request, I will ask University of Kentucky to please come forward. The next items on the pool list are with the University of Kentucky and are items numbers 46, 47, and 50 on the PSC green list. 46, 47. Please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning, Jennifer Fraker, Director of Government Relations.
Good morning, Barry Swanson. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer for the university.
I'm Jeffrey Blair. I'm the Director of Marketing and Brand Strategy for UK Healthcare.
All right, thank you all so much. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you all so much. And I believe Co-Chair Meredith has some questions.
I do, and I probably won't have questions that you folks can answer or want to answer. This is more just trying to send a message, and I appreciate y'all being here. You always do a great job in responding to my request. But these particular contracts, so we're spending $1.6 million on things that are not directly related to the provision of patient care. And that's just these three contracts. You go through your contracts for the medical center, and we're spending millions of dollars. And Barry, you've heard me say this 1,000 times before. it just concerns me so much. Our healthcare system's collapsing. We cannot continue to go on this trajectory of spin, spin, spin. And the things that aren't directly related to patient care, I think we've got to scrutinize those, and I don't think we're doing a good enough job. You all can spend this money because you can spend this money. But, I was a regional administrator for several small rural hospitals. $1.6 million for one particular hospital been 10 years of their bottom line. We're killing working people. They can't afford health insurance anymore because we continue to go on this level of spending spree that I just don't know that it's necessary. And you've heard me share the point before. At my home hospital, we had a year where we had a downturn of revenue that's unanticipated. We had to cut expenses. And when we went through that, I was amazed that the number of departments came to me that things that they thought were sacrosanct, suddenly, yeah, we can do this out now if it means not cutting personnel. I think that's something that every healthcare system in America needs to go through right now. This is a crisis. This system is going to collapse if we don't do something. And as our leading research university in this state, and probably this part of the nation, why can't you take on the challenge of how can we reduce healthcare cost? Because with the opportunities there, if we're spending 30 cents of every dollar on healthcare, just for the administration of it, double what other industrialized nations do it, what are we doing wrong, and how can we turn that thing around? And we have to. I'm not just asking, I'm begging you, pleading you, carry this message back. Somebody's got to step forward and address this. We're spending $13,000 per capita on healthcare in the United States. Next closest nation is Germany at $8,500. China spends $885. We cannot be competitive in the international market if we're continuing this trajectory, because this is overhead to the business community, and it's crushing working families. They can no longer afford health insurance, even with the subsidy that we're providing. They just can't do it, particularly in this high period of inflation. So this is just a plea. Take this charge. I don't know if anybody in the United States is doing this, but take this charge. We've got to reduce the cost of health care, and we can do it. I assure you, there's enough money in the health system already to take care of man, woman, child in this country if we spend it the right way, but we're not. So I'm just begging you, pleading you, take the lead on this. So that's not a question. That's just a challenge to you.
We hear you, Senator Meredith. We will absolutely take that message back.
I appreciate it. In the interest of time, I'll make a motion to approve these contracts.
I have a motion made by Senator Meredith, second by Senator Thomas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas. Representative Chester Burton. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
I'm a symbolic no.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all so much for being with us. Next item on the pool list is with the Office of Energy Policy, and is number 33 on the PSC green list. Representatives are here. Please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Kenya Stump, Executive Director, Kentucky Office of Energy Policy.
And Lona Brewer, Deputy Executive Director of the Office of Energy Policy.
Could you ladies please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you all so much, and I believe Senator Meredith has a question.
I do, and it's very straightforward. One of the charges of this committee is we are examining the appropriateness of expenditures that we make. And, this is almost $1.7 million, which I don't know, may be a lot, may not be a lot. But what is that as a percentage of the entire grant? Because what I'm getting at, if we're spending 75% of the grant on this portion of it, then I'm not sure we're doing a good job. So can you give me that?
It's around 1.5% of it.
Right. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Representative McCool.
Just want to make a comment. I think this is a good thing because it allows, if I understand it correctly, it aligns the dots to allow seek federal funding to help homeowners, and especially those areas that can't afford the high cost of energy, to how they can save energy costs by doing things to their homes. I think is this part of the connection with SOAR as well?
Yes. So a requirement of the federal grant is that we work with our local energy efficiency workforce, which accounts for approximately 25,000 employed in the energy efficiency space through insulation. HVAC, electricians, contracting. The work done on the low-income homes as part of this program will be done through Kentucky's local energy efficiency workforce. A significant portion of this for low-income populations will be targeted to Eastern Kentucky due to the high energy burden that's currently in that region.
Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, do I have a motion to consider the contract review without?
I'll move.
Second. Motion made by Senator Meredith, second by Senator Douglas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas. Aye. Representative Chester Burton. Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here.
Thank you.
Next items on the pool list are with the Transportation Office of the Secretary and our numbers 37 and 38 on the PSC green list. If representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record. Are they virtual?
Yes, sir. I'm Eric Monholland, the right-of-way branch manager with the Division of Right-of-Way.
All right. Sir, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much, and I believe Senator Boswell has some questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here today. I'm going to take these two together, if I can, real quickly here. Were there appraisals, were these appraisal services bid out?
Could you repeat the question, sir?
Yeah. Did you have competitive bidding on these appraisal services?
We put out a request for proposals on these, and these two respondents were the ones that provided the acceptable proposals.
My question was, did you have other bidders on these particular items?
No, sir, we did not.
Okay. So one of these contracts went to an out-of-state bidder. So you're telling me that in the state of Kentucky, where appraisals are, there's an appraiser on every corner. You didn't have another appraiser from the state of Kentucky on item number 37, correct?
Let me explain. This is at the beginning of this biennium, we put out an RFP that, and we got 23 responses for that, and all of those were Kentucky firms. This was because we put this RFP out because we had some new pre-qualified appraisers, and one or two of our regular appraisers missed that first RFP for various reasons.
Okay.
So this is the only firm that is an out-of-state firm.
Okay. Are these renewals? And if they are, they're essentially kind of renewals. What did we pay for these services in particular contracts last year? Or is this completely a new thing?
This is a completely new thing.
I think that's all my questions,
All right.
Mr. Chairman.
If there's no other questions or comments, do I have a motion to approve the contract reviewed without objection?
Motion.
Motion by Senator Meredith, second by Representative Pollock. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
I'm a vote no. Explain my vote, please.
Go right ahead.
I think we just got to do better to try to get some in-state appraisals on these.
Okay.
Senator Douglas.
I'm going to pass, and I want to explain why. I agree. I think we need to look in the Commonwealth. I often hear that, well, we don't have the people here in the Commonwealth who have the expertise to do these things. I disagree. I just disagree. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Thomas.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to explain my aye vote, please.
Go right ahead.
I'm going to vote aye because the Transportation Office did follow, the Cabinet, I should say, did follow the right process. They did put out the bid, and they got bids. They can't control where they get 1, 2, or 3. That's not something you can fault them for. So the process was followed, and so therefore I will approve it. However, I do want to say this, and again, as I say, I always try to be fair. I don't know why it is, but in the area of transportation, I really do think that's an area where we really should prioritize Kentucky companies. I mean, I can see why we might want to use out-of-state companies in higher education, for example. Now, that I'll give a pass to. But when we talk about transportation, roadways, and pavement and asphalt, I mean, we can find Kentucky people here to do that kind of infrastructure. So Senator Boswell's not wrong in that area, but because the Transportation Cabinet did follow the process, and there's no indication that anything was flawed about it, I'm going to vote aye.
Representative Chester Burton?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Pollock?
Yes.
Senator Meredith?
Concurring with Senator Thomas's comments, I vote aye.
Chairman Hart?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for being with us. Next items on the pool list are with the University of Louisville, and our items numbers 51, 52, and 53 on the PSC green list. If representatives are here, please identify yourself for the record and come forward. And are they virtual?
Morning. Good morning. I'm Sally Malsberger, the Chief Procurement Officer at the University of Louisville. And joining me today is Lauren Weiner. She is the contract administrator who handled the request for proposal process for this and the issuing of the subsequent contracts.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Could you both please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Thank you so much. And I believe Senator Boswell has some questions.
Thank you. I have some questions kind of along the same line as the other one. I noticed that all these are out-of-state companies. Are there no search firms in the state of Kentucky? I'll stop right there, and I have a couple other questions.
Senator Boswell, I'm the old timer on the block here. I've been at the university for 18 years, and ever since I got here, every biennium we would establish a group of search firms that could support the needs of the university in the various areas we've got. And we never have had one in the state of Kentucky, and we've continued through different leadership that have come to the university in the research arena, in the academic arena. A lot of times those people, when we're going to have search firms, they come to us and have search firms that they've worked with if they were from the East Coast or the West Coast or wherever. So we have always encouraged adding to our vendor list and trying to get firms from all over the U.S., but optimally from Kentucky. But we have never had any responses, nor have we had anybody bring forward any, unfortunately.
Okay,
and
thank you.
We do have California search firms, but we're prohibited from using them, and that's always been a struggle.
Thank you. And so in the essence of time, I'll skip some of my questions. Were these, let me get back to where I was here. So what was the actual cost of these, first of all, this sounds like an awful lot of money for this particular category of search committees. What was the cost of this service that you received last year? Compared to what
it was, I don't have the number in front of me, but it would be in the millions, only because during a 2-year period, we had a lot of change in the university, and some of it was on our research community. We had our dean of our medical school, who had been here for many years, leave the university, and that was that search went on for almost a year. So some of these positions, some of these search firms, they're involved in trying to get people that are already in these fields and recruit them for us. And so the academic units, where it's maybe a dean search, those are not nearly as expensive. But anytime you're talking about a dean of the medical school or a research executive vice president, or a member of the president's leadership team, then those searches can be lengthy. And we used to try to commit these firms to a fixed fee. And we were finding over the last 10 years, a lot of the firms were not responding because they would not agree to be paid on that. They wanted to be paid on a percentage of the salary that we anticipated. And so, you know, keeping with the times, the last biennium, we didn't have enough firms to really adequately support what our needs were. And we were trying to, then we ended up having to do individual RFPs because we didn't have search firms with the funds on them, nor were they available for the search when we needed it. So
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been ongoing.
On the essence of time, I think I'll just wrap this one up. I think that I know you probably have a huge HR human people that are in human resources.
Yes,
it seems like
we lost our VP of human resources.
Yes, so thank you for your time, and you answered part of the question by saying it's a percentage. Thank you.
If there's no other questions or comments, to have a motion for to consider the contract review without objection.
So moved.
Motion made by Senator Boswell.
Second.
Second by Senator Meredith. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
I'll vote aye.
Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
Aye. Let me briefly explain my vote. Again, when we come in contact with contracts from state universities, they are often seeking very highly specialized and unique expertise, which sometimes we don't have that here in Kentucky. So again, I give higher universities a pass. We're talking about out-of-state firms compared to transportation, more mechanical, more engineering aspects where we do have that expertise here. And so I'm more inclined in those mechanical construction areas to say we ought to favor giving contracts to Kentucky firms. But higher universities I give a pass to. I support this contract. I vote aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative
Yes.
Senator Meredith. Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
The next item on the pool list is with the CHFS, the Department for Aging and Independent Living, and is number 14 on the MOA Amendment Yellow List. Representatives are here. Please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Ms. Chair, she's come to the table. The reason I asked that these be moved up, again, we're going to run into time constraint. I think if Senator Thomas and I both have to leave, we'll still maintain a quorum. So I'd encourage everybody to hang around because we've had 2 months in a row where we've had to defer contracts and people have waited for us through the entire meeting. We've had to call them back. So if we have to leave before that, I'd hope everyone else can stay so we can continue this. But we've got another committee obligation.
Okay. Go ahead, ma'am. Please identify yourself for the record.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, I'm Marnie Mountjoy. I am the Director of the Division of Quality Living in the Department for Aging and Independent Living.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much, and Senator Meredith.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. Both these contracts combined deal specifically long-term care ombudsman. I want to know what the relationship is between Nursing Home Ombudsman Agency of Bluegrass, Inc., and all the other agencies listed under contract number 14, which are the ad districts. Just trying to understand that relationship.
Yes, the Nursing Home Ombudsman Agency at Bluegrass has the designation of the state long-term care ombudsman. She oversees the activities of all 15 of the regional districts, the area development districts, and that agency also provides for the district ombudsman, or I'm sorry, the regional ombudsman to support the district ombudsmans.
That's what I assume, but I guess I'm confused as to why this is outside the cabinet.
There was, I don't know the exact year, but there was a federal rule that the state long-term care ombudsman should not be in the same agency that received the federal funding, so we contract that out.
Sort of like our Senate Bill 48, where we moved the ombudsman office to the auditor's office. Same kind of rationale.
I believe so. I don't recall.
I get that. So it's kind of a federal mandate. You're saying that
yes,
they're going to have some kind of
oversight and authority, making sure they were a separate entity.
All right. Appreciate that education. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
If there's no other questions, to have a motion to consider the contract review without objection.
So moved.
Motion by Senator Meredith, second by Senator Douglas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for being with us. Next items on the pool list is Department of Community-Based Services and our numbers 17 and 22 on the MOA Amendment Yellow List. Representatives here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Excuse me, but the previous motion, did it include 14 and 17?
No, it was just for 14.
I'm sorry. They were together, so we can take a motion on this if you want to now, because they were
Okay,
together.
that's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve 17.
Second.
All right, I got a motion by Senator Meredith, second by Senator Boswell. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock. Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much. Sorry for the confusion on that. The next item to be considered is item number 22. And that's also with the Department of Community-Based Services.
Sorry.
If you ladies could please identify yourself for the record. There.
Lynette Ponder, Assistant Director with the Department of Community-Based Services. Good morning.
Good morning.
Astrid Masterson with Office of Administrative Services.
All right, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much. And Senator Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These are very, very quick questions. We look at this funding for support and referral services, and we talk about providing funds to support and referral services in Jefferson County, Kentucky families, with the outcome of decreasing the number of families with active department, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I guess my question is this: when we close cases within this particular area, do we assess whether those cases are improved, or do we simply close the case and say we can't do any better?
No. When investigation is closed, then that means at that time that no further services are needed.
Okay.
If we complete an investigation and we feel further services are needed, then we would open the case and provide ongoing services. So the goal here with the KVC is to close investigations where the family no longer needs further services.
Where the family no longer needs further services, could you tell me what those further services are, or might potentially be?
So if we conduct an investigation and let's say the family needs ongoing therapy, individual, or it could be parent classes, or if there's additional services needed, then we could open a case and then monitor over a period of months.
Okay. All right. I just needed that clarification. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Go ahead, Senator Boswell.
How much of this is general funds? It says federal general. What percent? I don't know why we don't get the percentages on these contracts, but what percentage?
Should be on here. It's on the.
It's federal general fund.
14% federal, 86% general.
Wow. That's a big number, and I think that in the future I'd like for us to have that on there. I mean, that's when we're talking about this contract. I think that's we're always looking up here like, well, if it's federal fund, it doesn't really matter. But in this case, 86% of this is general.
Okay. If there's no other questions, do I have a motion to consider the contract review without objection?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Representative Chester Burton. Second by Senator Thomas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Next item on the pool list is with Economic Development, also the Secretary, and is number 137 on the MOA pink list. Wait, excuse me. Yeah, I'm right. My notes have gotten confused. I'm sorry. If you could, please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning. I'm Katie Smith, the Deputy Secretary at the Cabinet.
I'm Matt Wingham, the General Counsel for the Cabinet.
All right, could you all please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you all so much, and I believe Senator Douglas has some questions.
I certainly. I do, Mr. Chair. Just 1 second.
Okay.
I'm flipping through my notes just as you are. Thank you both for being here. My question in this particular area, because we talk about funds going to the contractor for providing supplemental organizational capacity to develop competitive proposals for federal funding. That's a lot of words. Number one, I'd ask you to simplify the wording, okay? Because if it's a lot of words for me, it's a lot of words for a lot of people. But my question is, do we look at our return on investment in these areas? And could you give me an idea on what our return on investment is in this area with $4 million out of general funds?
Yes, sir. This is a new program, and it was House Bill 723, the Government Resources Accelerating Needed Transformation Program of 2024. The acronym is GRANT. And in Senate Bill 91, our cabinet was appropriated $200 million to administer this program. And what this program is to provide funds to certain applicants that are applying for federal governments and that don't have the required match, and we can provide that required match so that they can go after the federal funding. And in Senate Bill 91, it also authorized us to have up to $4 million available for Grant Ready Kentucky to be able to assist us in implementing the program. And so they're going to be working with 501c3s to help them, because the eligible applicants are a city, county, or 501c3 for these funds. And so they're providing training and working with projects on their applications, trying to assist them with finding those federal opportunities so that they can submit applications to. Does that answer your question?
I want to thank you. I always enjoy having you come here, believe it or not. I'm really not a mean guy. I'm really not a mean guy. I always enjoy having you come here because you're concise and your answers are easy to understand. And I want you to know I really appreciate that. That's all I needed, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Do I have a motion to consider the contract review without objection? Motion by Senator Meredith, second by Senator Douglas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Thomas.
Mr. Chair, I like to humorously explain my
Go right
I vote.
ahead.
Katie, you get the gold star today. I vote aye.
Thank you. Representative Chester Burton.
Yes.
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Representative Pollock.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Thank you.
The next item on the pool list is with Western Kentucky University and is number 58 on the PSC green list. If representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself for the record. Are they virtual as well?
Good morning, Brian Russell with Western. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much for being with us. Could you please raise your right hand?
Oh, and this is also Jennifer Smith with WKU.
All right. Thank you so much. Do you all solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Thank you all so much. And Senator Boswell has a question.
Thank you for being here. I'm proud to say that two of my grandkids are representing Western Kentucky, so I better be careful.
I'm sorry, Senator Boswell, we can't hear you. I think maybe your microphone might not be on.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes, I've got to be careful. Two of my grandkids go to Western Kentucky University. I'm proud of that, and I appreciate all y'all do. Yes, so this contract is $12,998,000. But there doesn't seem to be a lot. I'd like to have a little more specificity about what this money has been spent for. It says it's architectural engineering. So what is the entire cost of this project? For $12 million just for engineering.
I'm sorry. The entire cost of the project is $160 million. And the total architectural and engineering and specialty consultants, which are what we call soft cost in a project, is 11.6% of the total project. When you look at just the A&E portion, it's 5.54% of the total contract. CMTA, which is mechanical engineering, and the things in the structural, is about 2.6% of the contract. Civil engineering is less than 1%. And then we have specialty fees, which total about 2% of the total project, which is commissioning of equipment, et cetera, ADA reviews, fire codes, permit fees, that type of things.
Okay. So the last question I have is, so do we expect to receive other bills for this particular category of architecture, engineering? Are we have any?
This is total. This is total.
This is total. That's all.
Yes, sir.
That's my final question. Thank you.
All right. If there's no other questions or comments, do I have a motion to consider the contract review without objection? Motion made by Senator Boswell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Chester Burton. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Senator Douglas.
I but explain my vote.
Go right ahead.
I'm an alumni of Western Kentucky University, and I want you to know that does not influence my vote on this particular contract.
Senator Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton.
I also attended WKU. Likewise with
Representative McCool.
Yes.
Yes.
Representative Paul.
Yes.
Senator Meredith.
I also attended Western Kentucky University. Aye.
Chairman Hart.
I attended Northern Kentucky University, and that does not influence my vote, and I vote aye as well. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Okay. The next item on the pool list is with Eastern Kentucky University and is number 15 on the PSC Amendment Ivory list. If the representatives are here, please come forward and identify yourself. Are they virtual as well? Yes. Can you all hear us?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Micah Hunsucker, the Director of Procurement at EKU.
All right.
Hi, I'm Brian Mackinnon. I'm Chief Campus Operations Officer with EKU.
All right. Thank you all so much for being with us. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Thank you all so much, and I think Senator Boswell has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so, it seems like when I look at this, I know this is an amendment to the contract. The contract was originally $32,950,000. I'm not sure how in their world it could actually rave at that figure. But it's amazing to me that with that much money involved, that we had to have a change, an amendment, increasing that huge number by $384,000. I mean, it seems like to me, if I had that contract, if I was D.W. Wilburn, that the money that the $32 million I've got should have covered. I don't want to have to be coming back and adding more things. Now, just to give you a little history, my best friend is a construction manager. He's actually worked with this contractor, and I know what he gets to charge, what he charges for huge projects, and it wouldn't even come close to this number. So when we're adding money to a number that's already that big, can please explain why we need to add additional cost to a $32 million contract?
I'd be happy to, and thank you very much for the question. Very, very pertinent. With any renovation project, unfortunately, there are times where there are found conditions. The conditions that were found in most part were after the demolition process had taken place. So as one of several examples, there's 7 different categories that comprise this $384,000 and change. And 3 of those 7 items address restrooms that we were originally intending to leave in the facility, as was. Unfortunately, after the demolition started, we found conditions that were not included in the original documents that for safety reasons, and also to make this facility last for decades to come, we needed to address these items, but they were in fact in addition to the original contracted price.
So, okay, I think that's good. I just have to say that sounds like an awful lot of money. Thank you.
If there's no other questions or comments, do I have a motion to consider the contract reviewed without objection? Motion by Representative Pollock,
I'll second because I'm going to support this.
second by Senator Thomas. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell,
I'm going to vote no. I know it's going to pass, and that's okay.
Senator Douglas,
I'm going to vote no.
Senator Thomas,
I'm going to vote aye and explain my vote. This is a contract to renovate Alumni Coliseum. I think with regard to sports financing and sports business today, we need to understand that sports athletics is a big, big business. And if someone were going to come in and, to use an analogy, renovate Rupp Arena, you're talking about something in the 9 figures to do that. It costs a lot of money to build sports arenas these days, football stadiums, basketball stadiums. So the $32 million figure doesn't surprise me at all. That certainly sounds in the ballpark. I was at Eastern Kentucky University last night and saw the renovations taking place. So understanding how sports financing and how sports business works today, I think this is certainly within the ballpark. I'm going to vote aye.
Representative Chester Burton,
Yes.
Representative McCool,
Yes.
Representative Pollock,
Yes.
Senator Meredith, Chairman Hart.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Next item on the pool list is the Department for Public Health and is number 25 on the MOA yellow amendment list. If representatives are here, okay, please come forward and identify yourself for the record.
Gloria Dennis, the Ron White Services Team Lead.
Bob James, Assistant Director, Division of Epidemiology.
Are y'all's green lights on? We're having, okay. All right, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. And I think Senator Douglas has a question.
I do. Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman. Provide funds for human immunodeficiency virus, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, core and support services to regional clients of a particular service. Do me a favor and explain the program.
This is for the Ron White program. It's the HIV/AIDS program, and we provide 26 core and support services to clients that are HIV positive in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And the core and support services are like emergency financial assistance, housing. We do mental health services. We provide their medication for HIV.
All federal funds?
No, we actually generate program income from this program through the 340B pharmacy that we utilize the medications for the clients, and that's where the additional income is coming from.
Did I hear you say educational support?
What support?
Educational support.
We don't do the educational support. We do mental health and behavior. We do that as well as psychosocial support.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, do I have a motion to consider the contract review without objection? All right, go ahead, Representative Chester Burton.
Looking at these counties, how are they selected?
We actually divide the state up into 6 different regions.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do I have a motion? I have a motion by Representative Chester Burton to consider for approval. Do I have a second? All right, contract will move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Final item on the pool list is with the Department for Workforce Investment is number 28 on the MOA Amendment Yellow List. If the representatives are here, please identify yourself for the record and come forward.
Good morning. John Gregory, Executive Director, the Office of Adult Education, the Education and Labor Cabinet.
Good morning. I'm Aaron Pointer. I'm the Director of the Reentry and Employment Services Branch of the Office of Adult Education.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the committee. This is Jessica Williamson. I'm the General Counsel for the Education and Labor Cabinet.
All right, thank you guys so much for being here. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you all so much, and I believe Senator Boswell has some questions.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you for being here. You know, I know inflation is really bad, but this is a pretty good number here to increase a agreed amount, the previous agreed amount, by $580,000. That's roughly, I think, 51% increase. Is this a new contract?
No, sir. This is not a new contract. This is a contract with the South Central Workforce Board, and the modification is due to the success of the Putting Kentuckians First program. From a scalability standpoint, this program has expanded significantly, very rapidly, and is currently in almost 60 counties. So that requires a additional persons to be able to serve those folks in the justice-involved subpopulation.
Thank you. And how many new positions that talks about adding additional personnel?
Yes, our intent is to hire at least 2 to 3 additional staff positions. A portion of that budget or the contract that you see will also be utilized to fund ID services for individuals that are in reentry activities and participants with the Reentry and Employment Services Branch and Kentucky Adult Education, as well as other services and programs that we offer with a credential training program for individuals.
And what's the approximate salary of the individuals that you're going to be hiring, the 3 people that you mentioned?
The navigators we employ, the starting salary is $45,000 to $55,000, depending on their experience.
Okay. All right, thank you. I think that answered my question.
All right, if there's no other, do you have a question? Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I'll throw this question out. Anyone can answer this for me. I heard the term due to success of the program. Could someone define for me what that means?
Absolutely, sir. The Reentry and Employment Services Branch oversees Putting Kentuckians First. What that is a program that is focused at the local levels to align state, regional, and local resources in serving intentionally the justice-involved population. We do that through partnerships with the local county attorneys, jailers, judges, local county governments, and really focus on that accountability in the staff that we have are navigators. And so helping individuals navigate the process of re-entering the workforce, because we are a workforce development program, and ensuring that they are able to transition from incarceration or from justice involvement. And we seek to impact that population both in the recidivism and on the front end by a diversionary and alternatives to confinement process.
May I ask one last question, Mr. Chairman?
Go right ahead.
Maybe 2.
Okay,
no,
great.
no, I don't want to lie.
3 or 4.
Okay. all of that sounds really nice, really nice. What we're looking at is we're paying for programs, and I want to pay for programs that just talk to people. I want to pay for programs that actually have numbers, objective numbers that we can take a look at. Is there any way that your organization can get us the numbers of people who are going through the program, the number of people who are returning to gainful employment, and something about the amount of time they are remaining in gainful employment?
Yes, sir. But absolutely yes to all of your questions. But we have data, and I don't know if we have it here currently with us, but
Okay, I'm not asking for that now, but I would like for you to, if you could, get some of those numbers to the members on the committee, and that would be wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Representative Pollock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to again plug Aaron and this cabinet. The Workforce Task Force is coming Thursday. We'll probably share those numbers with you, Senator Douglas and others. But also, I wanted to ask a quick question. You mentioned you're up to 60 counties now. Originally, when the program first started, how long was the program been in effect?
Representative Pollock, I just want to make clear, it's almost 60. I think it's about 58 approximately right now, but just to be clear for the record.
Sure.
So we started this in Russell County, Kentucky. This was a pilot program that was started with a WIOA grant, and it has grown from one county from late 2019, 2020. Last year, it was adopted up to the state level, and we were active in around 12 counties last year. And since then, that demand signal has expanded to 58 counties so far, and continuing to grow.
Thank you, sir. And just again, I'll plug our Workforce Task Force meeting. 9 o'clock is coming Thursday, and we'll share a little bit more about that and those specific numbers that you're seeing through this program. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, do I have a motion by Representative Pollock, second by Senator Douglas for approval? All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
I'd like to vote no and explain my vote, please. So the only reason I'm going to vote no on this is because, when I came to Frankfurt, one of the things I saw up here is that we're getting bigger, the government's getting bigger. Sometimes I'd like to see somebody come in and say we're being more efficient or whatever, and so there's no particular with you guys in particular, but in general, I'm just not going to be in favor of hiring additional staff that are going to continue on the payroll for years to come potentially.
Senator Douglas?
I vote aye.
Senator Thomas? Representative Chester Burton?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Pollock?
Yes.
Senator Meredith? Chairman Hart?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all so much for being with us today. Final two items on the agenda today are the consideration of two exemption requests. They're in your packet. Do I have a motion for this? Motion by Senator Pollock, or Representative Pollock. I need a second. Second by Representative Chester Burton. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell? Senator Douglas?
Aye.
Senator Thomas? Representative Chester Burton?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Pollock?
Yes.
Senator Meredith? Chairman Hart?
Yes, motion carries. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October the 8th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All right, we're adjourned.